morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. Hit the like and the share buttons and make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. We're back with the satirically named Done Deal Show for another episode. We're live. We're taking your calls as well today. A number of stories to delve into today, including Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United. Plus, I want to take your questions, whether you want to super chat, member chat, or phone in and have your say. You're all very, very welcome as ever on the first non-echo chambered multi-club fan channel that the world of YouTube's ever seen. And that's a fact. That's a fact. If you don't like it, cry. Look, where to start? I'm going to start with Chelsea today, actually. I'm going to start with Chelsea because I think it's really, really key story today coming out that Chelsea have made their first official offer to the camp of Osimhen. They have made the personal terms. They have made their first offer to the player, their first formal offer, with further talks with Napoli set to go ahead in the next 12 to 24 hours. And we know that, Fabrizio has spoken at large about this deal. We've seen Ornstein talk about it briefly. According to Fabrizio, who insists the Saudi club are the only club in the running at this stage. And I will say this now. I mean, they're not. We clearly know Chelsea are having conversations. We clearly know that Chelsea are trying to make strides. They're trying to get this deal done. They're trying to get it over the line. But according to Damasio, the first official offer to the player has been made around contract. Now, he's never going to get paid as much at any club in England as the Saudis are offering him. But a number of sources today claim that the priority is going to be the priority for Osimhen is Chelsea, is the Premier League. This just out actually from Fabrizio says direct talks between Chelsea and Victor Osimhen's camp continue today. The Saudi club proposal remains valid on the table, but will only be activated if Chelsea can't agree terms with Osimhen. So essentially, what I'm reading between the lines here with that article and what Fabrizio has said is Chelsea haven't initiated official contact or bids with Napoli, and they won't do that until they've agreed terms with the player. Well, that is very, very normal. That is very, very natural. And actually, that's the way it should be. Chelsea shouldn't be getting bids accepted essentially from Napoli and doing all that club work if the player then says no. That would in itself be utterly, utterly stupid. I've said all along, if Chelsea pull this deal off, if Chelsea get this over the line, this is a phenomenal piece of business. Toss in Dewsbury Hall, Pedro, João Felix, all of these signings thus far have been very good. You add Osimhen to this mix, and it is nothing short of a fantastic summer for Chelsea. Of course, on paper, we've got to see how this all comes together, but that doesn't need to be debated. That isn't what we're talking about when it comes to these transfers. Excellent work. And he clearly doesn't want to go to Saudi, but he wants to leave Napoli. Napoli want to cash in on him. And the fact this deal could end up being done for somewhere in the region of around 60 to 65 million euros, it's phenomenal work. It really, really is. So look, Chelsea fans, give us your thoughts. Give us your feelings in the comments section below. Terry, what about Ivan Toney? Well, what I've read this morning, and I'm going to paraphrase it rather than reading it all out verbatim, is that Ivan Toney, they're also in discussions with, but Ivan Toney is the second choice to Osimhen. In case that deal doesn't happen, in case he does decide to go to Saudi, in case another club comes in and hijacks it. So it appears that Osimhen's number one, followed by Ivan Toney. I mean, it's really, either way around, I think they're signing a top striker, Chelsea. I think they're going to end up with either of those two players. So, yeah. Phenomenal work. I don't think you can get away from that. Staying with Chelsea, and of course, merging into Manchester United, more headlines today that Man United and Chelsea are in talks over a stunning swap deal for Jadon Sancho and Raheem Sterling. And these news stories continue to come out. These news stories continue to circulate. But any agreement would have to be on Man United's terms, with the Blues forward owed 70 million. And this is what, again, I've had a lot of Chelsea fans DM me, some being fair, some being a little arrogant with it, but there we go. if this deal happens, it's on Man United's terms. Chelsea have approached Man United. Conversations have gone on. They're active deals that could happen. Man United are considering it, but it would have to be on the right terms for us. And I've been sitting on the fence on this deal for a number of days. And when I say sitting on the fence, I've been very open about it. Part of me thinks, yes, I like it. Other elements of me think absolutely not. I saw somebody else tweet yesterday, I think it was Scott Sanders, tweeted something that made sense to me. And maybe this is me finding a happy place and a comfortable place, but I think there's logic to it. The makeup of the deal dictates whether it's good business or not. I agree that if Man United give Sancho plus cash and pay Raheem Sterling 350 grand a week, it's huge risk and potentially a poor deal. Because even if you get Raheem Sterling somewhere near back to his best, he's probably not worth that at this stage of his career. However, Man United have got Jadon Sancho, who is surplus to requirements at the club. Whether I like it, whether you like it, it's a fact of this situation. He's on huge money, and as of right now, nobody wants to buy him. Keeping Sancho with his volatile past with the manager at the club is a huge risk. A logical train of thought here is we could remove a player that nobody else wants to buy, and another club takes care of his salary. A player that we don't believe is any use to us. Doesn't mean he's a bad player. Doesn't mean he won't do well elsewhere, but is no use to Man United. What they are considering is, do we think Raheem Sterling at a cut price weekly wage could come in and for a season, 2 or 3, move the needle for Man United slightly? Not be our saviour, not be somebody that wins us the Premier League and Champions League within 2 years, but contributes more to the team than we've seen from Sancho, than we've seen from Anthony, than we're getting from Marcus Rashford. That's the question. When I read that thread that Scott Sanders put out, I went, well, that makes sense. Where everybody's saying the deal makes no sense whatsoever, in this circumstance, potentially it does. Doesn't mean I'm 100% sold. Doesn't mean I think he's going to be a superstar for us. But I can understand Manchester United entertaining the deal based on wanting to remove Sancho. Nobody else is coming in. Could we bring a player in that scores 10 to 15 goals for us in all competitions, who helps improve us on the football pitch? Because Sancho staying at Man United will have less impact for us in a positive note than Sterling joining in a swap deal. So I understand the logic potentially behind it, but it is a real deal. It is on. The conversation is going ahead, and I really want to ascertain your views, your opinions, and your feelings around this as fans. I would love to get it. Is it PSR, Terry? No, I don't think it is PSR per se. There's an element here. I mean, this is why the deal's so interesting, because I don't think Raheem Sterling is going to join Man United for a cut price salary and not take. He's owed £70 million by Chelsea. That's what he's contracted and owed for the remainder of his contract. That's a huge amount of money. Remember, the salaries and bonuses and image rights of players normally far outweighs whatever transfer fee you paid. So he's owed £70 million. I get a feeling if this happens, and if Chelsea really want it to happen, Man United may say, look, we'll take up a third. We'll pay him 100 grand a week. So we'll take a third of that price off you. Maybe we'll do half. And then you get Sancho. Chelsea is still going to end up paying out around £70 million because Sancho is going to get paid a fair amount of money. And they're still going to have to pay off some of Raheem Sterling. So all of this is going to be on Manchester United terms if they want to get it done. Do I think it's PSR related? A little bit, but I think it's more about, and listen, this is positive from a Chelsea point of view. I think they believe that Sancho will offer them more than Sterling is giving them. And that's fair. Sometimes in life, I always give this example. I like cheese sandwiches and I like jam sandwiches. In fact, I just had some jam on toast a moment ago. But I would not put cheese and jam in a sandwich or on toast together. That would be awful. And that just happens in life sometimes. So, but I don't think it's PSR directly. But no, Man United are not going to pay Raheem Sterling 300k a week. That isn't what's being discussed in any way, shape, or form. If that's what we do, then I'm dead against it, because then it's a huge risk and you can't move the player on. A bit like this Chiesa deal. Liverpool getting Chiesa, and that brings us into the Chiesa story, actually, before we move on to Arsenal. Liverpool pushing really, really hard to get Chiesa over the line, as we all know. Now, just like with the Raheem Sterling situation, I think the deal in this circumstance dictates the quality or problematic nature. Sorry, I put the wrong. I put the wrong one up. There we go. My mistake. So Liverpool working to clinch the Chiesa deal, as said. Now, just like Raheem Sterling potentially going to Man United, I think the terms of this deal dictate whether it's worth the risk or not. So at £12 million, let's wait and see what the salary is as well. But it's not a huge risk for Liverpool. If it works, brilliant. If it doesn't, no real harm done. And I very much think that's the same with the Sterling deal. If Man United bring him in on a very, very conservative wage, we remove a player that we don't want at the club. It balances our book slightly. Even if it doesn't work, Man United will probably be able to move him on fairly simplistically to the MLS, another Premier League team, Saudi in a year or two, because of what they'll be offering. And it isn't really going to damage us. Signing players that don't work out has never really been my issue per se with the Glazers. The intricate detail has always been we've overpaid or we've paid too high a salary, they flop, and then we can't move them on. So I don't mind taking a risk here and there on players as long as we have the ability to move them on. And I did see Mark Goldbridge say something. I saw a clip of it that said that I think if this deal happens, a lot of people will lose trust in Ineos. Now, I want to listen to the full context of what Goldbridge said because I don't want to take him out of context, but I'm not going to lose any trust in Ineos if they make mistakes. And I was having this conversation with Don and Ches in our private chats on our WhatsApp groups of the Football Terrace last night. They were kind of goading Man United and laughing about how good Chelsea are and that they both always knew that Chelsea's plan would go. They always fully backed their ownership and their plan. Of course, they criticised the elements they got wrong and they criticised the mistakes, but they always believed that Clearlake and Todd Bowley would get it right. They believe they have got it right now and they're going back to the top, which is fair. And they're allowed that belief. And I don't think we should discount that belief or laugh at that belief. That they're allowed to hold that, and fair play to them for showing chest. And the reason why I just wanted to, I was asking them last night, can you just clarify what you mean by this? Because I didn't want to misrepresent them. Is that's how I feel. That's how I feel at the moment about Ineos. Even if we sign Sterling and it ends up being a flop, it doesn't mean I'm going to say I don't trust anything Ineos do again, because I like all their other transfer work. I like the people they've hired at the club. I love their plans for the stadium and the training facilities. I love what they've done internally at Man United to make us a more agile organization. So making mistakes is part of any process at any particular time. You know, City have made mistakes. Liverpool have made mistakes in their pomp. Like throwing baby out with the bathwater, I think is such a dramatic response from Man United fans personally. When it comes to Liverpool and Chiesa, look, as I've said many times, when I first heard about this deal, I wasn't sure. We know he's had the injury problems. We know a lot of Liverpool fans are not happy. But I think the money that he's coming in for, £12 million, I think it's kind of worth the risk. The biggest challenge isn't even Chiesa. It's why are you not spending more money on a better, less risky player in terms of injury? That is a fair question. But the Chiesa deal in isolation, I don't think it's as bad as people are making out. Now, the other big story that was circulating late last night is Sorry, I clicked on the wrong one again. My apologies. Darwin Nunez to Arsenal. I couldn't believe this. I saw it everywhere. My DMs were lighting up. Terry, you seen the story? Darwin Nunez to Arsenal. Darwin Nunez to Arsenal. Now, we know that the Liverpool Echo have recently reported that Liverpool have absolutely no intention of selling Darwin Nunez. These are, and I spent about 45 minutes today looking for the stories, looking for the sources, researching them. This story, in my very, very, very humble opinion, is an absolute load of nonsense. It's an absolute load of nonsense. Firstly, Liverpool don't want to sell him. Secondly, he really isn't that good at finishing. He really isn't. And the amount of money Liverpool, one of the best-selling clubs in the world. They just got 25 million for that ginger fella, Sanderberg, or whatever his name, not Zanderberg, Vanderberg, or whatever his name is. Never seen him kick a ball, 20 plus million. Carvalho comes in, flops, gets loaned out, does average, comes back, can't break into the first team, 27 million. Liverpool are phenomenal sellers. So even if Arsenal wanted Darwin, even if they were willing to sell, it's going to cost more money than Gyökeres. It's going to cost more money than Tony. It's going to cost far more. It's going to cost more money than Osimhen. Makes no sense. There is absolutely nothing to this, in my opinion. Now, people saying he wants to leave. Cool. He might want to leave, but he is not, I repeat, not going to Arsenal. It's an opinion. It's an opinion, but I think he's going absolutely nowhere near Arsenal. I can't see it in any way, in any shape, or in any form whatsoever. No chance. No chance, in my opinion. So, it is what is interesting is it hasn't been shut down yet by any of the top journalists, which tells me they're doing as much. They're doing more research than me. They actually have contacts at the clubs and agents and players. I don't. I'm a like every fan channel. I'm just a fan talking football. But I think they're doing a bit of. I don't think any of them want to discount it until they've done their research to make sure. Because you don't want to. If you're Fabrizio or Ornstein or Collins or Nazir Kinsella, you don't want to tweet and go, this is a nonsense story, and then tomorrow Darwin Nunez is holding an Arsenal shirt, because you know what the internet's like. It's unforgiving. You'll get memed on that. But look, from my perspective and from my point of view, I just don't see this happening in a month of Sundays. Cannot see it. Now, you may have different opinions, and I want to hear them now in the comment section. By the way, if you haven't hit the like button yet, get it done. Join the transfer group chat as well. You can scan that QR code on the screen. Want to get as many of you in there as possible. So I'm just drinking my sparkling water. It's very good for you. Everyone knows I've got like a very small hiatus hernia on top of my stomach. Sparkling water doesn't taste the best. Very good for digestion. It really, really is. What does it say here? I saw a comment I wanted to read out. Ugarte needs to be registered before midday on Friday in order to be able to play. Yeah, he will be. His medical's getting completed today. It's Wednesday. He will be a Man United player and available on Sunday as long as he is fit, which I hope he is. I don't think he'll play. He hasn't. I don't think he's match fit. I don't think he'll start, but there we go. King's Football Show says Nunez is 100% going to Arsenal. There is no interest. AFC Camden started, and he's just a troll. They don't need to talk about. I think you meant not going. Excuse me. I agree. I get what you're saying, that the journalists don't need to talk about it, but it's one of the. Well, they might just want to shut it down because it has picked up. I'm talking about it to just turn around and say 110% that this is just crazy. But the amount of people, and you think it's true? It's like, no. I can't understand it. Terry opening packaged bottled water at home, rich life. Bruv, a pack of 12 of these Buxton waters cost me £1.25. That's not a rich life. Compared to some parts of the world, absolutely. But it's just like, I don't know how much it's bottled water. It's it's relatively cheap. But I drink tap water if I want still water. Like in my bottle here, it's quite empty now. This is tap water because it's fine. But I use sparkling water for my digestion. I don't drink sparkling water to quench my thirst. I use it to stop getting... Because what I get, when I was getting a lot of those chest pains, a lot of it was like trapped gas, but it would sit in my chest and it would feel like someone's pressing on me. Carbonated water just helps keep me moving, bro. Do you know what I mean? I don't drink it for its taste. I think it tastes okay, but it doesn't quench your thirst. It makes you, if anything, it makes me a little thirstier. But no, it's not a rich life, my friend. It's a bit of bottled water. There we go. I drink bottled still water. I must be a billionaire. Yeah, that's still one of the cheapest things in a shop. It's still like 69p for a bottle of water. It's crazy when it used to be 10p though. Mad world we live in now. Mad world. Terry is all about that life. No, I'm very well, thank you very much, my friend. I am. But look, I want to take your views. I want to get your opinions on all of what we have been speaking about so far today. I think if I shared the link to call in, I have shared it. I'm just going to make sure. I thought I pinned it. Maybe I didn't pin the tweet. Pin the tweet? Maybe I didn't pin the comment is what I mean. Let me just go into this again now, and then if I haven't, then I'll pin then I will pin it. I thought we went live on the wrong link then. No, it's why is it not bringing up the comments? Come on, you car son. There we go. No, I didn't pin it. Oh, I didn't pin it. Well, I'm going to pin it now, though, so you'll see it in the live comment section if you want to buzz in and if you want to have your say on today. Let's go here to some super chats. Man like Strasbourg, Steve, hope you're well, mate. He says, if Chelsea get Osimhen, it is unfair for a Chelsea fan to expect and demand at least... Sorry, is it unfair for a Chelsea fan to expect and demand at least a goal in every single game this season in all competitions? Not from him, but from their team. I don't think that's an... I would say that 95%. You're always going to get a few games where you don't score, but they should be scoring in the high percentage of their games. Not Osimhen himself, but as a team, absolutely they should be demanding that. And listen, I kind of get why Don and the Chelsea boys that have backed the project from day one, that have remained positive throughout, criticized where criticism's needed, but remain positive throughout, that believe they were building something special. I can understand why, if they land Sancho and Osimhen in these next few days, I can understand why Don thinks they can win the league. I'll understand why Don thinks it's almost a guarantee they're in the top four. Because why would he not if he's believed in this process and the build to get to this stage? It doesn't make any sense to not back it. So I totally understand it. So yeah, the expectations should be high with what they've... If you're someone that believes in what they're doing. Now, if you're a Chelsea fan that thinks it's a disaster, then I don't expect your expectations to be high. You know, I don't think football fans should be considered a monolith. I get it. But also with the fans that are backing it, I don't want to see those Chelsea fans coming on and saying, you know, expecting us to scorch earth with Ineos after a few mistakes, because they've backed it for 3 summers running. So keep the same energy, please, bros. What do you make of the Mark Gahey situation? I'm extremely frustrated with Newcastle's transfer window. Very, very underwhelming. Look, you guys were sailing very, very close to the PSR sun. Chelsea's situation was different. They've sold a lot of academy players, which you don't have to sell. And they sold major assets, hotels. They sold their own women's team back to themselves. There's something else they sold that I forget about now, maybe the training facility. So they've raised over £100 million through those sales, which has put them in a position to be able to keep spending. Plus, they have a bigger natural income, bigger endorsements, and everything else. This is why with Newcastle, it was always a 10-year project from where they were when the Saudis took over to getting to the pinnacle. What happened is there was a spike. There's always been peaks and troughs in that process until you become consistent. And you had a really big peak that was partly created from a number of other teams that were expected to do well dropping off in that time. No one 2 years ago expected Chelsea to drop off like this. Liverpool had a drop off that season as an example. So you go through this kind of scenario where you almost were a little bit ahead. You were a lot ahead of where you should have been anyway. On the Gahey situation, you got to remember, because you've got the rich owners, people are going to try and stripe you up for as much money as possible. And it's something that your club has to learn to circumnavigate. Plus, you lost Dan Ashworth. And I know a lot of Newcastle fans went online and were laughing and saying that he's been rubbish. You're welcome to him, Man United. All I'm now seeing from a lot of Newcastle fans is frustration and anger that Paul Mitchell and the new team since Ashworth left haven't done a good enough job, which is one of the reasons why I'm not panicking as a Man United fan over our transfer and our football strategy decisions, because I think as Newcastle fans are realizing, Dan Ashworth is amazing at his job. And the people that have run the club, the boards at football clubs, the football and key decision makers have always been a hugely important component of football clubs since its inception as professional, since the inception of professional football clubs. They've always been a key component. That hasn't changed now. Just the roles and the job titles are different, but the premise is exactly the same. It really, really is. But yeah, look, it's not been a great summer window for Newcastle. The positive is that you've held on to the majority of your players. It could have been a lot worse. But ironically, if you'd have sold an Isak, sold a Bruno Guimaraes, this is what would have happened to your finances. Say you sold both those players for a collective 220 million. Let's just make those numbers up. 220 million. That 220 million could have enabled you to spend 500 million pounds in the transfer window. Because when it comes to, forget net spend, it doesn't exist. On the trading accounts, it would show an income of 220 million instantly. You could then spread that 220 million over a 4 or 5 year period, meaning you could spend 400 or 500 million, 600 million in a summer and spread that cost. So selling is sometimes an important thing to do. And the problem is for Newcastle is because you're so early in your process that a lot of your academy players and your lesser needed individuals are not of the status that Chelsea's are at. So therefore, you can't be selling them all at 20s and 30 millions. It's going to take you years to build that infrastructure where you can sell lesser known players for more money. Because what the Chelseas and the Cities do so well, and Man United have started doing it again. We fell off when Fergie left. We started doing it 4 or 5 years ago, which is a good thing under the Glazers. Going out there and buying some of the best young talent in the world. That's what Newcastle have got to do. Side strategy. Go and buy that 14, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, that 17-year-old, that 16-year-old. Put them in your academy. If they turn out to be stars, you put them in the first team. If not, there's all this hype around them. You sell them for 15, 20 million. It's considered pure profit. But £20 million sale today can buy you a £100 million player tomorrow if you spread the cost. The only time that becomes a problem is if your project keeps failing and you don't progress as a football team, because then you've got to sell the flops and buy again. And where's that money coming from? So that's why sometimes it's better to sell a player or two, because you can spread that money further, if that makes sense, Steve. Ruud van Nistelrooy should take over now, Terry. Not at this particular juncture, in my opinion. Give it a little bit more time and we will see. I am happy McTominay is gone. Napoli, he's going to play with Kvaratskhelia. Yeah, listen, fair play to him. Absolutely fair play to him. Inner Circle says this is bullshit, but it isn't bullshit. It's how it works. It's how football finance works, my friend. It's quite literally how it works. Now, of course, I'm really boiling it down to basic levels still, because of course there's loads of very complex internal triggers around it. But it's like with Chelsea. People go, how can Chelsea keep spending? One thing you've never heard me say is, why can Chelsea keep spending? They keep spending because they've sold assets, they've sold players. The only time Chelsea spending becomes a problem is if they fail again. If in 2 years' time they're not back in the Champions League, not winning major trophies, and a lot of the big money they've spent is on players that are now worth half or 1/3 of what they initially paid, that's when the problems come in. But they're able to spend it because of what they've been able to sell and generate through the sale of assets and the sale of players. So I don't understand why people think it's crazy. Stop listening to the media that talks about net spend. Anyone that says net spend, disregard their opinion on football finance instantly, because it does not exist at football clubs. It's not used. It's never used. It's not part of monitoring clubs, PSR, nothing. And if you don't study what clubs actually use, you won't understand how and why they're able to do things. It's as simple as that. Terry, when is Saudi Arabia going to get FFP? Surely FIFA has to monitor their purchase. FFP is a UEFA thing, isn't it? I don't think there is. Does FIFA have FFP rules? I don't know if they do. They might do. No, UEFA. Yeah, sorry. Yes, FIFA has fair play rules, which are a set of regulations that govern football. Find FFP rules. I have to read a bit more. That's an AI generated response. The Google searches online are just showing me UEFA's rules, so I have to have a look. But I don't know if they do. So, can someone send me a link to their website? So, someone watching, go on FIFA's website and find their FFP regulation. I don't know if FIFA have it. I generally don't know if they have it. That's an AI generated response off of Google, so I don't know how accurate it is. Yes, net spend is utter crap. It is an excuse and narrative for moronic fans use to have an agenda against their owners. Well, either against their owners or to protect their owners or to moan. It's again, and it's one of those things as well. Oh, because I saw Curtis Woodhouse. Curtis Woodhouse tweeted last night. I think I haven't listened to the clip because I wasn't that interested in it, from the overlap where Gary Neville spoke about how Fergie would go out and buy all the best players in England. And that doesn't happen for Man United anymore. And Curtis Woodhouse put out this tweet where he said, and I'm actually going to read this verbatim because it's interesting, because these narratives about Manchester United boil my piss a little bit. And he said, like I've said time and time again, since Man United have had competition in the transfer market, they haven't won a carrot. Well, we have since Fergie left. We've won 2 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, a European Cup. So we have won some stuff. Like, let's not pretend we won nothing. So that bit's a lie. He goes, they could always buy the best players. Now they can't. It's simple. Now, what's crazy is when you go and look at the facts. So I'll put out a tweet. I'm not going to read it all. It'll take too long. But it shows every year from 1992 right through until this past season and who the highest spenders each year were. Of those 31 years of Premier League football, Man United were only the highest spenders on 5 occasions. Now, some people say, yes, but cumulatively you spent the most. Well, right now, I think we're 3rd or 4th. When Fergie retired, I think we were 4th. Spurs were only about 30 million behind us at that point. However, his point was that Man United never had competition to buy players. But Blackburn outspent us in the first 2. Man United weren't even the high spenders once in the Premier League until 1999. After winning 6 league titles. But Newcastle regularly outspent us. Blackburn did in the early stages. Liverpool on a couple of occasions. Chelsea lots. City lots. We've always had competition for players. But what it comes down to is how well you're run and how you invest these things. And yeah, it was just such an interesting comment. And I don't like people trying to undo the legacies at my club with absolute nonsense and lies, essentially. But there we go. Let's have a look at some more comments here. This from Alberto. It says, Terry, we didn't think Kai would go to Arsenal either, but it happened. Yes, but that was reported from credible outlets. That had a credible backstory. The Darwin Nunez deal doesn't, if that makes sense. It doesn't have a credible backstory. It doesn't have a credible link. I actually think Simon Phillips was the first person who shared that other story, if my memory serves me correctly. So that's just it. Ugarte. What number do you think? Ugarte's had it. Update here. Man United have held initial talks over a late deal for Ivan Toney. Interesting, Smithers. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind it. I would prefer that to Raheem Sterling, to be fair. But that's just me. Damasio just put out some breaking news that Juve will make their first official offer to Man United for Sancho in the coming hours. Juve will offer to cover only part of his salary, and United want a high loan fee. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like again, I only want us to loan him to Juve if there's an obligation to buy. Otherwise, we're back here next year wasting time on a player that by then wouldn't have barely kicked the ball for us for 2 years. So, yeah, I hope we're able to move on from that. KJ, you jumping on? I don't know. His camera's not on, but I wanted to check. I don't think he is. On the show, we're going to get King's football show on with us first. What are you saying, Kings?
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. What are you here to speak about today?
And speak about Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal supporter.
Go on, my friend.
Yeah, so far we've bought Moreno and Caliafuri. I do think we need to buy an attacker. Honestly, I think I'm a bit worried with the number of attackers that's in the squad right now. If you look at it, we got Saka, we got Havertz and Martinelli, Trossard and Jesus and Nelson. And in my opinion, the manager doesn't trust Nelson, so it's hard to kind of even count him because he barely plays. It's the odd sub here and there when the game is dead, but if it is 0-0, he's not putting Nelson on. Jesus, my worry with him is fitness and obviously his finishing ability. Lovely footballer, technically good, solid, press well, but can we trust Jesus to stay fit? It's a big problem. And then you just down to Saka, Martinelli, and Kai Havertz. And if you're gonna go up against a juggernaut like Man City, who's added Savinho and Gundogan to already the best attack in this league, I'm a bit worried, I'm not gonna lie. I think we do need reinforcement in the attack. I'm happy with the back line. I'm happy with the midfield, but the attack worries me a lot.
Do you The rumors today about Darwin Nunez. If they were true, would you take him?
No, not at all. And the reason why, I'm gonna break it down. So for me, Jurgen Klopp is one of the best manager in developing players. We've seen the development of Mohamed Salah, we've seen Firmino, Coutinho, Mane, Jota. They have all have all gone up for them. But when it comes to Nunes, he's not been able to improve his end product. And at Arsenal, what we lack is end product. You know,
Mm,
we do create chances, but if you look at the open play chances, it's a big problem still. You know, a lot of our chances is from set pieces, is from corners, free kicks, and crosses. We do score open goal, but we're not elite at open goal.
mm.
And I don't see how Nunes improve our open goal issues. I don't think he does. And if Klopp could not evolve it, I don't see why Arteta could. And that's no diss to Arteta because I think he's a very good coach and he's doing well for us. But Nunes makes no sense for me.
I agree with Nunez. I think, I mean, I don't believe the rumor in the first place, but even as a fan discussion point, it just wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. He would cost you more than better strikers like Gyökeres and Osimhen and Ivan Toney. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. But I do agree with you. I do think, especially after the Salvinio and Gundogan returning to City, Arsenal need to, I mean, I've said it all week. I think you should make maybe the biggest offer in your club's history to bring in Nico Williams. If Osimhen or Tony want Chelsea, I don't see why they wouldn't pick Arsenal. I don't see why you don't have an opportunity to hijack that deal. You're in a better position than Chelsea right now. Financially, you can match what they're doing. There are This is the thing. There are attackers available that can move the needle for Arsenal. So if they don't go for one, what do you think Arsenal were? Why do you think Arsenal would be holding out if they don't go and get it done?
So I think for Arsenal, one of the key things that they look at outside footballing attributes is your personality. What they deem is, do you have the right characters? Because they do no longer want a situation like a Aubameyang or
Mm-hmm.
like a, you know, or even like a Sancho where there's a fallout between the player and the manager. And that's their approach. And I think Arteta had to sit down with Ivan Toney, allegedly, and he wasn't impressed with his personality. And there's rumors that a lot of the top six club is a bit worried about his personality, and this is why he still hasn't been bought. And it kind of makes sense because if you look at his numbers and what he's done in the championship in the Premier League and the fee that they're asking for, he should have been one of the most demanded players during this summer transfer window. And he should already be playing for a club. So I think that's the reason why Arsenal haven't gone for him. And I think Osimhen, when he had that rant with Nigerian manager when he went online on Instagram, I think that kind of put a lot of clubs on hold and like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, if you can do that to your manager, you can do that to us as well. So again, I think with Arsenal, it's a lot about you need to have the right personality, mentality, character, the way you carry yourself, because obviously, again, Arteta is a young manager. He doesn't have the clout of Ancelotti or Sir Alex, so it's really important for him that the players listen and believe in what he is teaching them. And I don't think Osimhen falls into that category. I'm not talking about his ability. I do think he's a very good striker. The one that I'm a bit surprised for that we haven't gone for is Gyökeres. I think for
Yeah.
me, I think you can. I think he's one of them late bloomers. You know, like your Jamie Vardy's, like your Drogba's. That when they start hitting 26, 27, even Giroud, you could put in that category. They just start to accelerate and become monsters, and you can just see it in him. He suits the Premier League. You know, he's physical, he's strong. You know, he can play with his back to goal. He can do the link up. So for me, I would go for him. And Nico Williams as well, you know, he has a release clause. I think it's 50 million. His wages is on 200K. I'll just send Edu, Mikel, just go there, have a chat with him, promise him the number 10 shirt because it is available. You know, leave the 10 at Bilbao, come and take the 10 at Arsenal. We're going for the league, for the Champions League. You know, stay here. You're still young, 4 or 5 years. If you want to go to Barca or Real, then if
Mm.
they pay us what we want, you can go. I would just do it because I think if Arsenal get Nico Williams, attack with Nico Williams and Saka on the wing, it's frightening. It's frightening for me, especially with Martinelli's form. It is a concern because he seems to have reached a stumble block now, Martinelli, where his confidence makes him hesitate. And when attackers starts to hesitate, they take the wrong decision.
No, I understand that, and I think that Arsenal can't afford to wait because if you weren't expected to win the league and it was about let's secure top four, let's try and win some trophies next year, we improve again to go for the league. You could maybe stand on ceremony a little bit and wait for Martinelli to get back to his best, but he may never get there. Just throwing it out there, he may not get back to his best, and all of our clubs have had those examples. And, God rest his soul. I remember when you guys signed Antonio Reyes, came in, looked good, improved, and then kind of plateaued and was then like this. He didn't keep getting better. What you can't do, and my club's made this mistake too many times in the last decade, and Arsenal did prior to Arteta taking over. He'll come good. He'll come good. Too much time and faith put in Wiltshire, too much time and faith put in Diaby, too much time and faith put in Theo Wilcock. It's got to be a couple of years. And if there's an opportunity now to bring someone in, whether it's a striker or whether it's a wide player that moves the needle for you, it's then a case of, well, Martinelli, you've got to rise to the occasion now and force yourself back into the first team. It's going to do one or two things. It makes everybody better, or he improved, but you still don't play him, and then you sell him for a profit and you reinvest again in the team. So, no, I do agree with you. You can't stand on ceremony. Listen, great comments, my friend. Make sure you call in again, Kings.
Sure.
Top man. Thank you, brother. All the best. Thank you. Next on the show, we've got Kat, who's a Liverpool fan. What you saying, bro?
Nothing much. Just wanted to join and chat with you guys about the transfer window and how disappointing it's been for my club.
Yeah, well, you're about to sign Chiesa. Personal terms almost fully agreed. What do you make of that as a deal, my friend?
I don't think it's a pretty good one, but it's cheap, so you can't complain much. But I don't see how he improves the team because the transfer guys said they only want to sign people that will improve the team and stuff. I don't see him as a starter for Liverpool, so I don't really know what the thinking is behind that.
Yeah, I understand. I think the only element is that it's cheap, so it's not a high risk. Are you surprised, Kat, that Liverpool haven't done more business, haven't spent more for the new manager to improve your team overall?
Definitely. We need a centre-back, and talks are that Joe Gomez might leave for Crystal Palace. So it's really worrying who's going to play at centre-back because we know injuries do happen. And we're looking kind of thin at the back. And that six role, there are so many options. I mean, that guy Edison from Atalanta, he would be very good for us. So I don't know why we haven't signed anyone. And Chiesa, his injury record is not particularly amazing. So I don't really know what to expect this season, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, I totally understand. Plus, you've got all the contracts that are running down with Trent, Van Dijk, and Mo Salah as well. So, yeah, but the thing is, you are looking quite good on the football pitch, though. That's the interesting element is you've looked really good in the first two games.
It's a new manager, so he's obviously got some surprises for opponents. We'll see when it starts getting to October, December, then we'll start to talk. But now I think that squad is looking a little bit thin, especially at the back. Andy Robertson is kind of injury prone recently. So I don't really know what's going to happen if he gets injured. I don't think Kostas Tsimikas is good enough to, get in there week in, week out.
I get that. What's your message to the Liverpool fans that would essentially slam somebody like you and say, you're being too negative, trust the club, trust the manager? What's your message back to those fans that don't seem fazed by the lack of investment this summer?
Look, I trust the manager, but you can't ignore the fact that we have people on the last years of their contracts, and that's not a good look. If Virgil leaves or Trent, even worse, I think that would look bad on Liverpool as an hierarchy, because they obviously knew that those contracts would run out eventually, but still they were, not renewing. And you feel like teams like Real Madrid will start to, sniff around. And I don't think that's, a good look. But to the fans that are, don't be a little bit too optimistic. You can't, be in fairy tale forever. You need to be realistic at times, and we're very far away from Manchester City, despite what fans will tell you. So I think we really need players to get in.
I hear you. Listen, Kat, thanks for calling in, man. Make sure you do it again, brother, and have a great day. Top man. Thank you. Thank you. Top man. Update from Fabrizio Romano. He has just put out a tweet and stated that Chelsea and Osimhen talks ongoing. That's directly from Fabrizio Romano. So that is still a deal that Chelsea are working on today. He's giving them updates, getting those Chelsea fans excited. Bruno the Cruz is coming on the show now. What are you saying, Bruno?
I've got a few things to say, and Liverpool fans are not going to like this.
Go on, mate. Just let us know who you support first of all.
I've been on this show before. I'm a Liverpool fan.
Thought so. It's been a while. Talk to us, mate. Talk to us.
Right. First things first. A section of the Liverpool fans have got an agenda against Darwin Nunez. That's it. They've got an agenda, right? When other players are playing badly, no one says anything. But as soon as Darwin Nunez plays badly, it's, get out of my club. He should leave the club and all that rubbish. Where's the consistency towards the other players in the team? Where is the consistency towards the other players in the team, in the squad? When they're performing badly, nobody says a word. But as soon as Nunez is performing badly, it's get him out of the club, leave, and all this rubbish. If he goes to Arsenal, as an example, right, and he kills it, those fans that were saying to sell him will be saying, we should have kept him. We should have kept him. We shouldn't have sold him. And also, I think that rumour to Arsenal, I think it's a load of horse poo. No?
I agree.
It's a load of BS. It's a load of garbage, right? Because how are we going to find a replacement with 3 days to go or 2 days to go? How are we going to get a replacement in? And also, why in the name of garbage would you sell to a rival? A competitor for the title. And this is another thing as well, right? All people that are talking about top four and all of that crap, Liverpool Football Club, I've said it before on this show and I will say it again, we are not the bridesmaid. We are the bride. We are the person that's receiving the trophy. Yeah? We're not the person that's giving the trophy away. Remember what you said after the Champions League final, that Tottenham fans like to be the bridesmaid? Nah, Liverpool, we are the bride. We are receiving the trophy. We are lifting the trophy up in the air. Yeah? We don't give the trophy away. We're not giving the trophy to Manchester City. We don't do that here. We are receiving the trophy and lifting it up in the air. Another thing as well, Richard Hughes, I think he should be sacked.
Expand on that for me. Expand on that for us, mate. Go on, let it out.
Because he sits there, right? You've had the whole of June, you had the whole of July and August to bring players in, right? I said, and I've said it, I don't know how many times, you don't leave transfers to the last few days of the window. You don't do that. You get those players in June and July, early August, the 1st stroke, the 10th of August at the earliest. You don't do is the last 5 days of the window. This is like you going to the shops, right, when it's about to close, 5 minutes as it's about to close and you're trying to do your daily shopping. That's what this is like. Right? I'm sorry, there's no excuse. Also, Trent's contract situation, why are they taking 25 years to sort it out? When you've got the skankeheads Real Madrid sniffing around, yeah, you can't be faffing around, right? How much is he on currently? What, 150? If he wants a 250-week contract, there you go. 250-week contract, stroke 300. 5-year contract, sign the dotted line. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Good night, Vienna. Done. That's what you do. You don't sit here taking 25 years to get the contract sorted. What are they doing? Van Dijk, same thing. Like, you shouldn't take flipping 5 years. 2-year deal, same wages. Salah, either you get that deal done. It's simple. And also, I forgot to mention as well, there's a lot of people saying that we don't need Chiesa. Let me just give you a bit of information, yeah? If Salah gets injured, who have we got a competition for the right wing position?
No one.
Exactly. Right? If Salah needs to be rested, who's the backup for him?
Harvey Elliott, probably. Yeah, no one. Harvey Elliott. No one.
Yeah. Do you see the drop-off? Do you see the drop?
Huge.
The drop-off is huge. And also, when's the AFCON? Is it next year or is it in the summer? Because if it's next year...
I think it got postponed. I'm not too sure when they moved it, but I think I read somewhere last season they postponed it slightly. But yeah, I don't think it's in this. I don't think it's during this season.
Well, either way, right? You have to make sure you're proactive in the transfer window. You can't be sitting there faffing around, taking 25 years. If we don't sign any players in the next 24 hours, there's going to be blood on the hands of Richard Hughes. There's no excuses. People were saying, we had Copa America, we had the Euros. I'm sorry, I saw Man City sign Silvinho. And that was during the Euro stroke Copa America. So what in the name of garbage is this?
Mate, I understand your frustration. I think you're absolutely right to call out your club. I think it's horrendous that you haven't spent more money and got more business done, because you've got a team that can compete for the title now. If you've added to it, you might damn well win the thing and be the bride again. Listen, call in again, Bruno. Really good to hear from you, my friend, and we'll chat again soon. Top man. Not a problem at all. It's what we're here for. Thank you, mate. Safe is on the show, people. Safe is here with me. What are you saying, Safe?
Yeah, what's up, man? You good?
I'm very well. You?
Not too bad, man. I just woke up. Knackered.
Why are you getting up at 11:30 in the morning? Why are you not working?
There's no jobs, man. My contract has finished last month, so...
What do you mean there's no jobs?
There's no jobs available.
What? And there's no job in England?
No, because I work as an IT engineer. You know me long time. So
hang on a minute. But hang on. Listen, there's millions of IT jobs, is there not?
No, the market is quiet at the moment. My contract's finished in July. So now I'm speaking. And
I'm sorry to hear that. What are you here to speak about, Safe?
Well, I want to call you out.
Hey! Go on then. What are you calling me out on?
You said that you're going to give Ten Hag a chance this season, didn't you?
That's not quite what I said, but okay, go with it.
Okay, so you said, let us give Ten Hag a chance. He's doing fantastic. He's a good manager.
You've lied. You've lied.
No. I
didn't say it was fantastic, so you've already lied. But anyway, continue.
Okay, let me continue first of all, right? You said that let's see what Ten Hag can do with the new football coaches. He's doing absolutely rubbish. He's doing absolutely rubbish. Look at him for the past 2 Premier League games. Look at his systems. Look at his decision making. Last week he took off Bruno Fernandes. He brought on McTominay. What would Scott McTominay do? Why would he not change the system? Bring on a striker.
We didn't have any strikers on the bench.
Well, he could have changed the system. He could have. He took off what's his name? Harry Maguire for Delete. That's ridiculous. Change the system. Play free at the back.
Yeah.
Try to win the game.
Yeah. So me and you agree. He's done poorly in those decisions, and I called him out for it. So we agree.
Okay. That's fine. But why do you want Ten Hag to stay?
I didn't want him to stay.
Well, you do now, because you said that let's see what Ten Hag can do with the football coach.
There's a difference. I'm being objective and dispassionate. So there's a difference. What I wanted didn't happen. What I'm not going to do is create an agenda. Hang on. And what I'm not going to do is create an agenda and cry about it every single week when something goes wrong. We know this is going to take 3 to 4 years to fix the football club.
You're incorrect.
How am I incorrect?
Okay, let me challenge you. How is football played in your opinion, yeah, describe how football is played as a manager.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay, so football is played by systems and tactics. Am I right or wrong?
Okay, yes. It's okay. So you wanted a vague answer, yeah? Football, yeah. It's 11 men. Okay. It's 22 men kicking the ball around. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So how do you win a football game, in your opinion?
How do you win? You score more goals than your opponent.
Okay. So if the opponent at the back they're quite tight and you can move the ball around, what can you do to try to win the game? So let's say we're playing West Ham and West Ham are quite combined and they're very tight and we can't pass the ball behind the fullbacks and West Ham are trying to attack us and they conceded a goal. We're losing 1-0. How would you win the game? You're going to change the system.
Okay, well, you might change the system, change personnel. You may ask for your players to move the ball quicker. That's all great. What's that got to do with it taking 3 to 4 years for Ineos to fix a broken Man United?
So I tell you, because as I said to you, football isn't played by 3 to 4 years. It's played by system and tactics. If we have a decent coach... No. Let me finish.
I understand systems and tactics, but how are you ignoring... Listen, this is. I want to go back to. I don't want to go off on a tangent.
Yes.
You've asked me why I'm backing Ten Hag. I'm not per se. What I have stated is I'm not gonna scorch earth and slam Ineos and become overly negative about this genuine rebuild that we've started. I don't think it was the right decision, subjectively speaking, to keep Ten Hag. But objectively, I'm not going to panic every time something doesn't go my way. I'm going to give it time to come to fruition. If it goes wrong and we sack the manager at Christmas and then we bring in, I'm going to throw a name out there. We don't need to agree on it. It's a hypothetical scenario. Yeah, we bring Van Nistelrooy in or we bring in Alonso and it works and it's great. Then I'm happy because we've got better. It will be something where I say, that Ineos made a mistake there, but all clubs make mistakes. Even the ones that are at the... Every club makes mistakes. The best teams in the world make mistakes. We are going to make mistakes in this rebuild, but as Man United fans, we have got to slow down and remain calm. That, though, isn't me endorsing Ten Hag, the individual. Think deeper, think wider, and stop being so provincial with your mindset.
No. I'm not being negative here, but I said to you, if we have a decent coach, a decent manager, we can challenge for the Premier League. If we have quality players,
you are talking absolute fart. You think if we had if Pep was our manager today, you think this squad could win the league?
Yes. Yes. Can I make my point?
Go on.
I said to you that football is played by systems and tactics, and it's played by key decision. So key decision means here, just like the Brighton game. If Pep was the manager, we could have beaten Brighton easily. 2-1, 3-1, because he could have changed the system. He could have changed the style of play. We would not have lost the game.
The problem that you've got is we don't have enough players of technical excellence for Pep Guardiola and mobility at the moment for Pep's system to work. How do you know? The proof I would give you is year 1 in the Premier League when the City squad wasn't quite at Pep's level, he came 4th. I agree with Pep. We could win trophies, and I think he'd get us into the top 4. But could he get this Man United squad as it stands today to be consistent enough, mobile and durable enough, and technically gifted enough to play his football? The answer is no. So I agree that tactics is an important part and having a better manager is key. But there's so many components that go into making Man City who they are in 2024. What makes up the entire structure of Real Madrid? It isn't just a good manager, tactics, a couple of good players. It is about every single facet, every orifice, every cell of that football club. Ignoring this, ignoring this is absolutely crazy. And do you want to know how we know this? Man United have gone through 5 different managers, 3 or 4 different squads, £2 billion in spending, and nothing has worked yet. Because most facets of the club have been rotting away at the same time. You need a solid foundation to grow from. I disagree with some of their decisions, but this idea of just go and get a top manager and we'll be a brilliant team is flawed, in my opinion, because we've gone out. Ten Hag was seen as a good manager when we got him. Jose was seen as a good manager when we got him. When we brought in LVG, we went, cracked it now, get us playing football. But we've got a Frankenstein squad. We had no football. We had marketers and accountants making footballing decisions. The whole thing's rotten. I do get your point, though. Listen, Safe, always a pleasure. Well, one last point. Go.
One last point. You rate Bruno Fernandes. Look at Bruno Fernandes. The amount of times he gives the ball away. Why does he play him? Every single pass he does, he gives the ball away.
Who? Bruno?
Bruno Fernandes, yes.
He gives the ball away every single pass.
Every single pass he gives the ball away.
Okay.
Watch him for 90 minutes. It's absolutely shit. It's
good luck. Good luck finding a job. And we'll chat again soon, brother. All the best. What a guy. Maradon the Moron here says, Terry, so why wouldn't the best manager in the world make United better? I didn't say Pep wouldn't make us better. See, Maradon, that's why I call you Maradon the Moron. I didn't say that Pep wouldn't make us better. I said I don't think he could make us win the league this season due to the lack of mobility and technical brilliance of this squad. We would fall short of Arsenal and Liverpool, even with Pep as the manager, because the squad isn't good enough yet. So the idea that just a manager fixes us is crazy. KJ, very quick, because I've got to shoot in a second, but go on.
I was about to say, boss, we got bare people back. I feel like running it back. You know what I'm saying? Back to old school times. Yeah, if you need to leave, man can keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you want to stay on for another, no, because I've got to do some other bits and pieces, but we'll do another one of these tomorrow. If you want to call back in properly tomorrow, we'll do it. I'm sorry, guys, because I do have to shoot. Listen, everybody who's tuned in, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll speak to you all again soon.